Some marriages don't break because of one loud explosion. They break slowly, in kitchens filled with unspoken words, in bedrooms where one person sleeps while the other cries in silence, in homes where a woman does everything and still feels unwanted. This was Amara's war, and she fought it alone. As usual, Amara woke up at 4:45 in the morning, her body heavy with exhaustion. She felt weak, but she forced herself out of bed because as a mother and a wife, so much was expected of her. The house was quiet, except for the ticking of the wall clock and the sound of her own breathing. She moved quickly. Into the kitchen she went, putting water on the gas stove for the children's bath. She walked into the children's room, whispering prayers over them. Then back to the kitchen to prepare breakfast. When she finished, she began setting lunch. Then she laid out the children's uniforms. By 6:30 in the morning, when she returned to the bedroom, Kunle was still on the bed, his face glowing from the light of his phone. Her husband, Kunle, had never seen any reason to help with house chores, even though both of them worked, even though both of them earned salaries. She spoke softly. "Kunle, please help me wake the children and get them ready for school." He didn't look up. "Not now," he replied. "I'm tired." She swallowed the irritation rising in her chest, and she said nothing. By 7 a.m., Amara had done the work of two parents. She used to think, maybe today he'll ask how I slept. Maybe today he'll say, "Sit down, I'll handle this." But he never did.
For 6 years of their marriage, Kunle always made excuses. He never helped with house chores, even though Amara also contributed financially to the family. But hope, when stretched too thin, becomes exhaustion. By the time she returned from work each evening, her mind was already racing ahead of her body. Homework, dinner, laundry, bathing the children, responding to teachers' messages, checking the fridge, planning tomorrow. Then Kunle would arrive later. He loosened his tie, dropped onto the couch, and tossed his suit carelessly beside him. "How was work?" he would ask casually, his eyes still fixed on the television. "It was fine," she would reply. And that was the beginning and the end of the conversation. A few days later, Amara returned from work late, drenched in rain, struggling with heavy grocery bags. Inside the house, she found Kunle laughing loudly on the phone. "Tell her I'll call back," he said, smiling. Amara paused. "Who is that?" she asked. "Just a colleague," he replied quickly. She said nothing, but something felt wrong. That night, as she folded clothes at midnight, exhaustion finally broke her. "I can't do this alone anymore," she said quietly. Kunle sighed heavily. "You're always complaining. Other women do worse." Her hands froze. "So now my pain is a competition?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Amara, you like stress," Kunle snapped. "I give you money. What else do you want? Other women don't even get a penny from their husbands. Are you hungry?" Amara looked at him, confused. "Definitely not," he continued angrily. "The kitchen store is full of food. So what exactly is your problem?" She stared at him, her eyes heavy with pain. "I want a husband," she whispered, "not a roommate." And that was when the argument exploded. "You're ungrateful," Kunle shouted. "And you're always absent from our lives," Amara cried back. "Nothing is ever enough for you," he yelled. "Because I'm carrying everything," she shouted through tears. "The children, the home, the emotions, the prayers. And I am exhausted." Her voice broke as she continued crying. Their shouting woke the children. They came out of their room, crying in fear. Amara wiped her tears, pulled herself together, and gently put the children back to sleep. That night, something cracked permanently. Days passed. Kunle grew colder. Amara grew quieter. Then the betrayal revealed itself. One evening, Amara picked up Kunle's phone to check the time.
A message popped up on the screen. I miss you. I miss your voice. Talking to you makes my day better. Don't let your tight work schedule steal you from me. If you can't come around, at least call me. Her heart stopped. She didn't scream. She didn't faint. She simply sat down. When Kunle walked in, she asked calmly, "Who is Sade?" He froze. "It's nothing," he said quickly. "You're overthinking." "So you give another woman the attention, the love you deny your wife?" Amara asked. "Don't turn this into drama," he snapped. And in that moment, Amara realized the truth. She was married and emotionally abandoned. The fights became frequent over food, over the children, over money, over silence. It was a Tuesday night. The children were finally asleep. Amara sat on the edge of the bed, her shoulders slumped, her fingers trembling slightly from fatigue. "Kule," she said softly. "Yes," he replied, distracted. "I'm tired." He chuckled lightly. "We're all tired. That's life." Something in her chest sank. She nodded. Silence won again. That night, Amara cried without sound, her face pressed into the pillow so no one would hear. Not just because of the workload, but because of what hurt even more. Being invisible to the man who promised to be her partner, the love of her life. Amara felt like a single mother who just happened to be married. One evening, their son asked innocently, "Mommy, why is Daddy always tired, but you're always working?" Amara smiled and said nothing, but something broke inside her. The children were watching. Weeks passed, then months. Resentment didn't arrive screaming. It crept in quietly, like dust settling on furniture. She stopped asking for help. She stopped explaining. She stopped hoping. One night, they both sat on the couch. Kunle was busy with his phone. Then Amara spoke, her voice low and tired. "I feel like a single mother." Kunle laughed bitterly. "Then maybe you should be one." He continued laughing. His laughter shattered her, and that sentence stayed with her. Amara did not go to Felix easily. It took weeks of inner battles, sleepless nights, and quiet tears before she finally made that decision. She had always believed that marriage problems should stay within the home, but this was no longer just a problem. It was suffocation. Felix was not just any friend. He and Kunle had grown up together. They attended the same school and even went through university side by side. They shared struggles, dreams, and secrets. If there was anyone Kunle respected outside his family, it was Felix. She met Felix one afternoon at a quiet cafe. The moment he saw her, he knew something was wrong. "Amara, you don't look okay," Felix said gently as he pulled out a chair for her. She tried to smile. It failed. "I'm not," she replied softly. For a moment, she said nothing. Her hands trembled slightly as she wrapped them around her cup. Felix waited. He had known her long enough to understand that silence often meant pain. "Kunle has changed," she finally said. "Or maybe this is who he has always been." Felix frowned. "What do you mean?" he asked. Amara inhaled deeply, as if gathering the strength to finally tell her truth. "I feel like a single mother in my own marriage," Amara said, her voice cracking. "I do everything. The children, the house, the emotions, the prayers. He's there physically, but emotionally he's gone."
Felix leaned forward, concern written all over his face. "Have you talked to him?" he asked. "I have," she replied bitterly, "many times, calmly, crying, even begging. He says I complain too much, that providing money is enough, that other women do worse." Felix shook his head slowly. "That's not right." Her eyes filled with tears. "I didn't come to disgrace him," she said. "I came because I'm tired, and I'm scared that if nothing changes, I'll lose myself completely." Felix was silent for a long moment. "I understand you," he finally said, "and I promise you, I will talk to Kunle. He respects me. Maybe he'll listen." Hope flickered briefly in Amara's heart. "Thank you," she whispered. "That's all I'm asking, for him to listen." Days later, Felix invited Kunle out. They met at a familiar place, one of those spots where they once laughed and dreamed as young men. Kunle was relaxed, joking, unaware of what was coming. After a while, Felix's tone changed. "Guy," he said seriously, "I need to talk to you." "About what?" Kunle asked. "Your marriage." Kunle laughed. Felix, don't start. Amara sent you, Abi?" Felix didn't smile. "She's breaking, Kunle." She scoffed. "Breaking? I provide for that house. What more does she want?" Felix leaned closer. "She wants you, your presence, your help, your partnership." "I'm telling you the truth," Felix continued calmly. "Your wife feels like a single mother. That is dangerous." Kunle laughed again, but this time it sounded forced. "She'll be fine. She complains too much." He stood up abruptly. "I didn't bring you here to lecture me. My home is my business." Kunle walked away. Later, when Felix called Amara, his voice was heavy. He said, "I talked to him, but he refused to listen." Amara closed her eyes. "So nothing will change?" she asked quietly. Felix hesitated. "I'm sorry, I tried." She nodded, even though he couldn't see her. "Thank you," she said. "At least now I know it's not because no one spoke." When the call ended, Amara sat alone in the dark. And that was the moment she understood something. Painful, yet powerful. The next day, on her way home from work, Amara was lost in deep thought. As she crossed the road, a car nearly knocked her down. The shock hit her hard. She collapsed and was rushed to the hospital. She spent several days on a hospital bed. During that time, her husband visited her only twice. He was always busy. Her sister, Mrs. Steve, had to take care of the children at home and also come to the hospital to attend to Amara. 4 days later, Amara was discharged. After that, she stopped trying. She stopped cooking elaborate meals. She stopped waiting up. She stopped explaining. And one morning, she packed a bag. She left a note on the table. "I'm tired of being married and lonely. I need peace." She took the children and went to her sister's house. Kunle didn't panic at first. "She'll come back," he said confidently. But days passed and the house became unbearably silent. No food waiting on the dining table, no laughter, no noise filling the rooms. The children stopped calling him. No prayers whispered at dawn. That was when reality hit. He tried to convince himself. "No," he muttered. "Sade can do better than Amara." That same day, Sade moved in. But she refused to cook. She refused to do chores. By the next day, Kunle and Sade had a heated argument. She packed her things and walked out of the house. For the first time, Kunle felt the weight Amara had been carrying. He called her. She didn't answer. He sent messages. No reply. Pride slowly faded. Fear took its place. Kunle went to his closest friend, Felix, and explained everything.
Felix felt deeply hurt for Amara. He knew how much she had contributed to Kunle's life, even since their university days. "You messed up," Felix said firmly. "You ignored her pain. I told you, man, but you didn't listen." He paused, then continued. "She didn't leave because she hates you. She left because she was dying inside." Felix followed Kunle to Amara's sister's house. There, Kunle knelt down. "I was wrong," he said, his voice breaking. "I thought providing money was enough. I didn't realize I was losing you." Amara looked at him, tears streaming down her face. For several moments, she couldn't say a word. Then she spoke softly. "I told you," she said. "You just didn't listen." A woman who feels like a single mother in her marriage is not asking for perfection. She is asking to be seen. Kunle swallowed hard. "I'm ready to learn, unlearn, and relearn," he said. "Please come home." She didn't answer immediately, because healing does not rush. But for the first time in a long while, Amara felt heard. She stood up and finally spoke her mind. She said she would return after 27 days. Kunle begged her to rethink. He pleaded with her to change the condition, but she refused. If he truly wanted her, he would have to wait. And Kunle had no choice but to wait. This is a lesson for every marriage. When a woman leaves silently, she has already screamed enough. Husbands, presence is not optional. Wives, your pain is valid. And marriage without partnership is a slow emotional death. But with humility, patience, and grace, even broken homes can be rebuilt. Marriage is not meant to be a lonely road, walked by one person while the other only watches. It is meant to be a shared journey, hand in hand, burden by burden, heart to heart. And when that happens, the silent battle ends, and the beautiful dance of togetherness begins. If this story touched your heart, don't scroll past this moment. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Because silent pain deserves a voice, and healing begins when we speak. Thank you for watching.